all members and will take the actions it deems necessary to assist the ally attacked. Therefore, in the future, the fear of those in power in the Kremlin is that Ukraine will bring in the rest of NATO to fight Russia in taking back Crimea. And that is a war that Moscow knows it will lose. Not only because of NATO's much more advanced military capabilities, but because of Russia's own internal demographic problems. Ever since the collapse of the Soviet Union, Russia's deaths have exceeded her births, while the nation's fertility rate has been among the lowest in the world. And so the country's population has been shrinking almost continuously ever since. But since the COVID-19 pandemic began in 2020, this shrinking population problem has only gotten even worse. And Russia is currently undergoing its largest peacetime decline in people ever. In all of recorded history, even worse than during the 1990s right after the Soviet collapse. Right now, Russia has around 25 million men within the country who are of military service age. But the government knows that as time continues on, that potential pool of manpower is only going to get smaller and smaller. Therefore, it could be reasoned behind the inner walls of the Kremlin that the longer Russia waits to act upon Ukraine, the more difficult it is going to become in the future. And so the earlier, the better. Now, by occupying Crimea and by maintaining conflicts in the Donbass region of eastern Ukraine, Russia has so far succeeded in keeping Ukraine out of NATO. And by building up troops along the border and hosting joint military exercises in Belarus, Moscow is further able to signal to Ukraine that they are in danger, which can panic investors in the Ukrainian government and damage the economy even further, and which forces Ukraine to spend even more money on their own military and defense, taking away vital cash that they could be using to further develop their own natural gas infrastructure. And of course, Russia has been fueling a war inside of Ukraine in the east now for years, ever since 2014, that has greatly...
Why didn't Ukraine get up with the American oilers? Because the American Shell and those companies that were in there don't want to deal with the fact that they could lose billions of dollars of equipment if Russia decides to invade. They'd rather pick a safe spot and be like, we can pump oil from anywhere. We don't need it from here. We can do it somewhere else that's not going to get us blown up. And then we got to worry about losing stuff, losing people, paying people for being killed. Like, if I'm working in Ukraine for an oil and gas company and I'm an American and I'm just, you know, a guy helping build it or run it or whatever, and Russia attacks and I get killed in it, who's going to be at fault for that? Am I going to be able to sue Shell or somebody like that, my family, because they shouldn't have put an oil rig there, and so now they're partially responsible for it? You can see how you can tell what's going on here. First, we're going to check this.
Depleted the Ukrainian government's time, manpower, and resources. After being taken over by pro-Russian separatists following Russia's invasion and annexation of Crimea, both Donetsk and Luhansk declared their independence from Ukraine 8 years ago, and after being supported financially and militarily from Russia, have continuously been fighting a war against the Ukrainian government ever since that has already claimed the lives of more than 14,000 people. For years, most of the territory of each has been controlled by the Ukrainian government. But just a few days ago, Russia, for the first time, officially recognized both as fully independent countries separate from Ukraine and deployed their troops into each. Right now, as I made this video, it's still unclear what exactly Putin is ultimately planning for Ukraine. He may only be plotting a limited strike into the country in order to permanently sever both Donetsk and Luhansk from the country, as he did with Crimea 8 years previously, and effectively occupy each. He may also be plotting a further limited strike from Crimea in order to neutralize the block in the canal in order to free up Crimea's struggling water supply. He may be planning to go further, though, to ensure that this this situation never happens again, and push Russian territory all the way to at least some of the Dnieper River to simultaneously stabilize Crimea's geographic position by freeing up the water supply, deny even more of Ukraine's coastline and access to natural gas reserves, and set up a stronger potential defensive line against any attack from the west along the Dnieper River's banks. Alternatively, he may also be planning a southern takeover of Ukraine, which would simultaneously bring Donetsk and Luhansk into Russia, link up Crimea with the Dnieper River and the canal, block off Ukraine from the rest of the Black Sea, and transform the country into a landlocked state, permanently removed from any remaining offshore gas deposits, and link up mainland Russian territory with both Crimea and loyal Transnistria in the west. Or he may really be planning an all-out assault to take over the entire country, so as to guarantee that Russia and the CSTO's defensive lines against NATO are pushed further back towards the more narrow opening of the North European plain between the Carpathian Mountains and the Baltic Sea across the border of Poland, and in so doing, guaranteeing that Ukraine will never be used against them and that Belarus will never become an indefensible salient. From there, Russian provocations into Moldova are almost a certainty next. Another former Soviet state who isn't a member of NATO and conveniently already has a pro-Russian breakaway state that Russia will eventually get around to recognizing as well. Transnistria. It's all a part of Putin's repeatedly stated goal of bringing back the old Soviet and Russian empire for the 21st century. Now that Putin has chosen to invade, it's not entirely clear what's happening as the facts on the ground are rapidly developing. But what is clear are Putin's demands. He has demanded that the West agree to 3 main terms. 1. That Ukraine never be allowed to join the NATO alliance. 2. That NATO and the United States withdraw all of their armed forces from Eastern Europe back to the pre-1997 boundaries of NATO, ending in Germany, effectively abandoning Poland, the Baltic states, and much of the rest of Eastern Europe. And that 3. NATO and America agree to freeze the NATO alliance as is and rule out any future expansion of new members. And that the alliance will not hold any military drills in Ukraine, Eastern Europe, or in the Caucasus without prior Russian consent. The West and NATO, of course, will never accept any of these terms, and Putin must know this. But through the lenses of geographic security, the economics of oil and gas, the changing climate, the shortage of water in Crimea, and Russia's own sensitive internal demographic crisis, it's clear to see what Russia's primary concerns are with Ukraine, and only time will tell how Russia and Vladimir Putin act upon those concerns. But by analyzing how Putin has acted before during times of crisis, we can likely figure out how he'll act again in the future. The recognition of both Donetsk and Luhansk as independent countries and the deployment of Russian troops into both before launching the full-scale invasion across the entire country next mirrors a striking, uncanny resemblance to exactly what Putin and the Russian government did against Georgia 14 years previously, back in 2008. Back then, the Russian army invaded the country of Georgia in what would ultimately become the First European War of the 21st century. 2 pro-Russian breakaway provinces inside of Georgia, Abkhazia and South Ossetia, were each recognized by Russia as fully separate and independent countries, and then, by using the pretext of Georgian occupation of both, Russia deployed troops into both and, from there, initiated a full-scale land, sea, and air invasion across the rest of Georgia. Across the 12 days of intense fighting that followed, the Russians occupied both Abkhazia and South Ossetia within Georgia, solidified their de facto independence, and effectively dismembered the country, displacing nearly 200,000 people and causing Georgia to sever all diplomatic relations with Russia. However, it was, in the end, a decisive victory for Russia and for Vladimir Putin, as it kept Georgia from joining NATO, and at a time when NATO and the West were more distracted by the quagmires of Iraq and Afghanistan, there was little international attention, let alone condemnation. It would only be less than 6 years later when Putin would deploy the exact same kinds of tactics that he used against Georgia, against Ukraine, in Crimea, and the Donbass. And now in 2022, it once again appears that history is repeating itself in Donetsk, Luhansk, and Ukraine. Without a doubt, the Russian invasion of Georgia is absolutely critical to understanding how Putin's modern military strategy of dismemberment works, and
We'll have to finish it up next week. I gotta get back to work. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I can totally understand that guy's perspective and his reasonings for why he thinks Russia is doing what it's doing. And I can agree with that. Like, whether that's 100% correct, it's, we'll find out. But it makes sense. And also, let's see. Right now, the United States has a weak president. They are not going to push NATO too much. They're not going to push the Russians. I don't know. Would Trump have been would he have been more threatening? It's always a question. Although depends on how much further he intends to take this. I mean, it's still just the struggle between USSR and the United States. Just the USSR has changed forms, and soon we might change forms. Maybe we'll just turn full-on communist, and we'll help them. If we don't get this shit out of the office of the presidency and the Congresses and Senate and shit, we could be helping. Yeah, I fucking love the fact that they're making sure everybody else stays poor. Oh my God, I'm so tired. That's why I don't want to eat lunch. So why doesn't Russia attack the United States? Because we're a nuclear power. And we have way more nukes than they do. So they're not going to go straight face to face. They're going to continue to try and subvert us here at home. What's not true? If you say something like not true, you gotta follow. XYZ is not true because I say a lot of things in a short period of time, so I have to get better at reading people's comments and then telling you that I'm responding to them. It doesn't matter the overwhelming army, all that matters is nukes. No, they don't have more nukes than us. We have at least 2 to 3 times the nukes that they do, theoretically, from what we understand. But who knows who's telling the truth, so we might both have 10,000 nukes each. I would say, generally speaking, they're playing chicken. That would be why I said 2 to 3 times. You need more than 1 nuke if you want to really do actual damage. 1 nuke's just going to get people really pissed off. 2 starts getting more dangerous. Once you go up from there, it's bad. No, I wasn't building spaceports. I was... What was I doing? Forgot what I was doing last night. I was watching a lot of exercise workout videos from my current favorite guy to watch, which is this crazy motherfucker. It's pretty hilarious. God God, the internet's being so fucking slow. He talks about like arm workouts for serious growth, and to be honest, I'm not worried about like I'm gonna do a bajillion sets to get serious growth.
All right, today we're going through a full arm day. Sets, reps, rest time.
I want to see what kind of movements he
Puncture a
uses.
lung and I'd shit
'cause
liquid for a week. But I'm
I
also
like
not
to-
at that place where I get special treatment, like discounts at the grocery
to,
store, or being able to get naked in
compare
public
it.
and pretend like I'm senile so I don't get
Like
in
I
trouble.
never knew what a drag
I'm
girl
at that
was.
spot where after a long night's rest,
you
I
know.
feel worse. I feel like somebody kicked my ass. So this is a great way to really grease everything up, get some blood in those antagonist muscles, and it just feels better. And because I know people are going to wonder what the hell this thing is, I'm beta testing this product for a company that basically just monitors your blood sugar 24/7 and gives you a little bit of insight on what's going on. It's pretty brilliant. See what foods affect you. And I didn't think there was really any downside until I was at the gym today and some kid ran up all excited. "Oh my God, you're just like me." Pulled up his shirt and had an insulin pump. Yes, I'm just like you. Except I'm using mine to figure out a way to eat more fucking cookies. But other than that, same. So we're starting off on the Smith machine doing a reverse grip press, really targeting those triceps by
It's
tucking those elbows in. And these are great for a couple reasons. First one is you're not going to end your own life. Because, yeah, you can do them with a straight bar, free weight style, but that butthole is going to be nice and tight as you rack and unrack that weight because more than likely you're going to take that suicide grip because it gives you the best connection. But I also think these are just better, especially when you set the bench up like this, hang your butt off the edge. Really allows you to adjust the angle of your body and find what really lights those triceps up. From there, just take a little weight off, hop to the other side,
Yeah,
and go
he's
right into
fucking
Smith
huge.
drag curls. And I would just do a couple reps leaning forward, a couple leaning back, just to see what hurts you the most. And there is no rest in between. However long it takes you to take the weight on and off, that's it. That's right back to the pain. So I know a lot of people have speculated on why I shaved my head. Some people think I did it because I was losing my hair. Others think I did it for a dick joke, but it was obviously my way of showing support for the Free Britney movement. And what I saw was the next way to level up and go full asshole. Which is important since right now we're back in the gym amongst people that are in our way. And I've said this before, you want to get to the point where you're big enough that no one can say shit to you, but there's also another side to that where you want to get to the point where you don't even think twice. You just do what needs to be done because it's the best thing for you, like sitting on the ground next to the cable machine. And the next superset both have a mechanical drop built in, starting out by sitting on the ground against a bench with a cable French press. As you start to fail, you lean back, get a little loose of that form, right into a cable skull crusher. Well, fuck, did my armpit sweat go up? From there, take a seat, lean back at a 45-degree angle, go all the way down till you touch those legs, and then fire it up. Once you fail, we're going to go right into one of my favorite partial movements that I love to do on a machine curl, but we can mimic the same thing on here by using those knees to stop us, really just shorten that range of motion, cut it in half, and force out whatever dignity you have left.
I just like his humor. It's funny. So, from what I've gathered, Miniver, his methods, and if you're curious, this is the link. That's who he is. He's not the go heavy. He's the go lighter and do like 1,000 reps. I don't think so. He might, but I don't believe so. I think he's very much into being healthy and not putting shit in his body, but I could be wrong. And so, like, yeah, so if you're gonna do, say, bent over dumbbell flies, like reverse dumbbell flies, you do it until you can't do it anymore, and then you try and shorten up to see if you can do it anymore, and if you can't do it then he says, try it on a different way so you can do it sideways so you can get those last few reps, because you want you to do it until you can't fucking hold your arms up, and then do it some more. which I understand is a method of encouraging muscle growth, because if you are forcing your body to adapt because you're constantly making it fail, your body's going to grow more muscles, so that way the next time you can do it, it'll last longer. Or the next time you do curls or whatever. But that's extremely time consuming too, so. Right, and to, I guess, give him a little, I don't want to say, yeah, credit for it, is he's also more about being safe about it too. Safe-ish. Because the things that he likes to do will, or the things that he recommends you do, won't leave you with a crushed chest or something like that. He's like, you can't do a bench press until failure, because then you have a 150-pound, 200-pound barbell on your chest and you can't get it off. So you want to do things that when you fail, you're just like, okay, I can get a few more. Okay, I can't. So I was going to give that a try, see how I liked it, honestly. Like 100 squats. Puts on 135, does it until he can't move anymore. Then he takes off the 135 and he puts on 25 plates, and then does it again until he can't stand anymore. And then takes off those plates and he'll just fucking do the bar. And then he can't do that, then he just fucking does it in the air. There was one where he was training a lady, and she was like, man, I got to get my husband in here. He's the fucking, most get after it kind of guy you ever met. And he's like, yeah, I'll see it when I'll believe it when I see it. And so her husband shows up. Oof, that's bad, because it's got oil all in it. And so he's like, all right then, you want to do this? Talking to her husband, who was like this big, overweight biker dude with like monkey handlebars on his chopper and stuff like that. Turns out apparently he was an undercover police officer, and he's got like tattoos and everything. He very much fits the part. What?
Broad River Auto Repair, their internet's down.
Okay.
Can you show me where the torque specs are for a 2011 Ford E250 4.6 flywheel bolt? I can't find it in all data. And I know you know where it is.
Well, that's a
I
bit.
would normally get Dave to show me, but I couldn't find it.
You said it was a what year?
11 E250.
There it is. You're looking for flywheel bolts?
Flywheel bolt torque.
Is it a flywheel or is it a flex plate? Because a flywheel, if it's a manual, would be a flywheel. If it's an automatic,
I'm sure it's flex plate.
then that's right here.
Stage 1.
20 Newton meters. And then stage 2 to 80. Make sure it's a flex plate though,
He wants me to make sure it is a flex plate.
not a flywheel.
Yeah, right. All right, so step,
Install the
Me-
flex plate bolts, tighten the bolts in
That's
2
right.
stages.
so it says to do it in 2 stages. Stage 1's 177 pounds per inch,
20 Newton meters.
or 20 Newton meters. Yeah, and then the stage 2 is 59 foot-pounds. Yeah. We'll high five when we see you. All right, brother. Thank you. All right, buddy. Bye.
Oh, did Dave bring my switch back here, or did he leave it up there? Hopefully he left
No.
it up there.
The switch for that?
Yeah.
It's up front.
Good.
Because you said
Yep,
you
I
didn't
did.
want us to bring them.
That's exactly what I said, and I'm glad you listened.
And I said, no, you flipped John the bird. So. So, all right, fun fact. I was at a Apple store in Pleasant, South Carolina years ago. Right next door to the Apple store is a gym for like smart office women, and they were doing lunges, and they were going from the store. The entire store stopped because they were looking
mostly I want to test this first, the way I tested the other one, to make sure I get a different result before I put it in. Because I want to make sure I was right in how I was testing it. Button's a little stiffer. Trying to hold it and hold it at the same time. Keep the button pressed. Haha! I have continuity. I had it between a pin. I have ohms. This has continuity. This should work. So I was right with my test. That other one was just broke. I don't know, bud. I just tested this one with my multimeter to see if it gave me continuity between the pins, and this one does. The other one did not. So let's see what happens. This is the push button start. Now why it doesn't start, that's a different story. Yeah, steering wheel unlocked.
Yeah. Well, that's one problem solved.
Yeah, now we gotta figure out why the... Yeah, this is way more than we got first time, and now I can scan it.
Yeah. And you can
Did I pull out my jumper wire? Fuck yeah, bud, I was right. Woo! Makes me feel good. Although I gotta move this bitch so I can actually get in it. What? Ah! Right there. There. Key turns on now. It doesn't start, but that might be because I was fucking with other shit under it. But so I'm gonna plug that stuff back in and make sure it goes back to working. Yes.
Which one? Was it like this, John? Like that.
It was unwilling, let's put it that way.
Whoa.
Oh,
Like this.
yeah. It was full Nelson.
Okay.
Nobody had any questions as to what was happening. What?
He's talking about the janky shit.
Are you doing anything right now? Do you want to do something? That's on this Volkswagen that's also a problematic failure. I don't know where my flashlight is, but this little piece, oh, it's right here. See this one? There's 3 5mm Allens, and this piece comes out. This is your turbo recirc valve. This thing's got a boost code for a boost, I don't remember specifically, it's probably under boost. And so we take this off because there's a little plunger in there that goes in and out. And there's also a diaphragm around it, which is rubber, and it tends to tear. No, just electronically actuated. However, I can already tell you that this one's bad because if you look in that connector, you see all that damn oil? It's leaking through the unit, out through the connector. So if you want to take this 5 and a ratchet, like just a little 5, and do what? No, it shouldn't have really any oil in it. That's air. It's supposed to be air in there. That's oil that's coming from the turbo that's made it up into there. So do that, get those 3 bolts out, and then pull it out, and I'll show you what to look for as the problem. plug in. I'll get the other flashlight. It's been charging. Yep. No, I got mine. Or I got others. Because what this thing does is it cuts the starter. And even though I'm jumping 2 wires, it might not be working right.
Who are you people, why are you on my lawn, and which one of you crapped in my pants?
Oh god, now I gotta get out and find out what the hell that just said. Are the brake lights coming on? Really? No brake lights? No reverse light? Uh-oh, now I done fucked it up. I won't shift back. Well, this isn't a problem I was expecting to run into. I don't know what gear it's in right now. Gotta plug this thing back in. That might help it some, because it might not be able to see the Tiptronic. What? Now it's acting all sorts of crazy. Ah, there we go. Let me go back and park now. What the fuck? That's just weird. I plugged in the Tiptronic sensor. I think it got worse. Well, that's no good. This whole thing's falling apart. Yeah, we got some bad wiring up in here too. Or did our battery finally give up? I think our battery might have given up. Because it's getting really weird. I should roll down the window. I think the battery gave up on me since I've got the key to turn on. It might have been. Let me get the red jump box. Should be up front, I guess. All right. Jump box. Yeah, I think 4.6 volts isn't going to cut it. There we go. Now we got some lights. Brake lights, you dick. All right, cool. Well, at least we can get a scanner on it now. And find out what it's upset with. All right. Yes, which one of you crapped in my pants? That's what, who's that fat fuck in the Congress? Waddled his way after he shat himself? Not Chuck Schumer, but I can't think of his name. Also might just need to clear out some stuff. Yeah, the battery's toast. I wonder if it lost the key. No, I got the key. Nadler, that's it. I don't have any communication. I do have lights though. It's got power. Come on, talk. We gotta test this circuit here. It's all okay. Can 1, can 2. K1, K2, rather. Can I get to another module? Yeah? I can get the transmission. Jesus. Let's clear those. What about Central Electric? I can talk to Central Electric. Oh my god. Switch and lock cylinder driver side implausible intermittent, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Bunch of crap. There might be a bad connection in the door, but at the moment it's not even trying to start. But still no brake lights, eh? All right. Maybe we can talk to the engine now.
Orange piece in there is what's yours?
Yeah, you can actually do this.
Oh.
You can take it apart. That little piece come. Oh god, that's destroyed.
Yeah.
They need one of these. That's why they're getting a boost pressure code. That's what's causing their lots of problems. And it's leaking like crazy. So,
Tell them to spark.
yep, you can give them the part number right off of it. And I'm going to take a rag and wipe it down. It's the one on Monday's schedule. It's the only one that's here for it. So, it's the only EOS here. I don't think there is a brake light switch on the pedal. Although one thing we are going to have to do is we are going to have to I wonder how many fuses they fucked with, honestly. Yeah, there's no brake light switch on the pedal per se. There's an ECU above it. So now, God, why does this thing have to have a piece of shit security system in it? That really drives me nuts. Oh. I'm gonna have to put a battery in this thing at the very least, because this battery sucks. Looks like it's rather new. They might be able to get it warranted. It's a Duralast 1220. I gotta blow my nose. Except you can't hear me. I absolutely did change my green screen. Now it's facing a different direction. Hold on, let me go up front and ask them about what we can do about that battery. It's a helter skelter. All right, battery. I just wish this thing wasn't tucked in the hole right now, because it's kind of a pain. So I think what's stopping us right now is the fact that the brake lights aren't coming on, so the car doesn't think I'm depressing the brake. Also, I cannot talk to the ECU. But I'm not sure how much of that is involved with a shitty battery. Have you considered looking into maybe you might have a parasitic draw on your bike if they die that quickly? Something that's killing them. It says to press brake. All right. Let's have a look at. Well, let me see if I can scan the engine now. Now we got a good battery in there. Oh, do we have brake lights? Oh, I guess in order for me to scan something, I should plug it in. No communication to the ECU. Ambulance. Brake light switch implausible signal, intermittent. No communication to ECM. Engine control module, no signal or communication. All right, let's find out why the ECM's not talking. Brake lights? Yeah, we have them now. So theoretically, if it were to work, brake lights are on. It says push brake. Okay. All right. What powers the ECM? To getting you one? Yeah. More wiring diagrams. What? Yeah, I would start with that piece. All right, all the relays are in. I thought I had a wiring diagram paper in here. Did I throw it away or step on it or piss on it because I was mad? for the Mercedes. Mercedes, 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 which is trash at this point. Okay. Miniver, if you aren't busy, take a look at a few of that guy's videos and see if you think that he's full of shit or what. Why does the fan keep turning on? All right. The fan keeps going. Oh, I still have this wiring diagram pulled up. Look at me. Oh, fuck you, yellow lines. Starter relay 1, starter relay 2. I know we checked both of those. Terminal 15. I did put all those back in, right? Oh. Something to do before I forget about it. Roll down this damn window. Yep, those are back in. This didn't just fucking happen. Why do you keep turning on both fans? Guess it's time to fucking print out a fuse diagram and start looking through them. Production date was 14 or 15? 05 and 15. So from July of 14, because it resets in July of 15. Printing that real quick, and then we're going to print this one. Because I need to check to make sure all these damn fuses are where they're supposed to be, and that I didn't fuck one up or somebody else didn't mess with them. So give me a second, go grab those. I'm also going to hit the restroom real quick too. So 1 second. Okay, somebody's in the bathroom.
diverter valve, does it have oil running to it? Just wondering why that would be.
It's 30 in, 30 in.
See if the boost. John,
Yo.
the boost diverter valve, why would it be leaking oil? Why is there any oil running through it?
Because there's oil coming out of the turbocharger getting into the intake.
Bad too.
Well, I mean, they all leak oil.
Okay. All right, I just knew that there was no oil line running to it,
No,
so.
it's just leaking oil out of the turbo.
And what happened to that? Just get broken?
Yeah, the rubber goes bad and it comes apart. If no, still doesn't have anything to do, you can change the oil on it. That's also a thing that needs to be done to it. Brum, 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 brum.